Hello, everyone. This is a Jimmy Hitchcock podcast. A talk about the truth. It's called Post, P-O-A-S-T, the real truth. Plan of action, stop talking.
When the going gets tough tonight, put some intestinal fortitude inside your body and say, I've got to go because I have a dream and I'm going to achieve that dream.
I'll tell you, this is a great honor. I looked for this all day. And from the time they told me I was going to be with the team, I said, hot dog.
Well, Concord has just won the game. This game is over. And
I tell all young people, sometimes we all are chosen to lead by example. And I think tonight, the two of us, some of the people in the world, we had a chance to lead by example.
This is Jimmy Hitchcock with the Post TRT podcast. It's the Post TRT podcast meets Hitch and Trip. All right, I got my buddy Derek Roberts here. And we have two special guests here. Two men that's been instrumental in a lot of lives. They were at the Concord High School, the Spiders, from 1980 to 2007 and 2008, which is incredible. Affected a lot of lives, changed a lot of lives. A legend in his own right, Coach Smith, and his partner in crime, which is Coach Fleming, and he's a legend. And he's got the big profile. This guy has a big profile. This guy right here, he has a lower profile, but just as impactful in a lot of lives, and especially ours. Yeah. And we wanted to bring him to the podcast, talk to him. We wanted to share with you guys these incredible human beings that's been instrumental in changing so many lives. And I want to talk first about Coach Smith's record, how many championships, how many pro players you put in, etc. And he can tell it better than anybody. So we're going to let him speak on it. So go ahead, Coach. Talk about your players and talk about your past performances and your past teams.
Thank you, Jimmy. It's such an honor and privilege, not just for me, but Coach Fleming, for us to be together with you and Tripp. It brings back so many memories of the 80s when we came. We came to Concord in 1980. I was 26 years old, head football coach.
Oh, youngster, huh?
Yeah, just a baby. And I had to have a mustache back then so I would look old because I had a baby face. And so I reported in July. And then Coach Fleming interviewed, and I hired him in August. So we started. That first team was 6-4. Off of that team, we had 5 scholarship athletes that went on and played at different levels.
So the first team you coached?
First team I coached. Gordon Brown was on it. Gordon Brown
Gordon's a great player.
Went to Catawba. Darrell Ware went to Lenora Ryan. Aubrey Simmons went to East Carolina. We had a bunch of kids going places.
Good.
And so I had learned through my own experience as a player and then as an assistant in Florida how to promote young people. So then the 81 team, we were 9-2, lost only, beat Kannapolis, got the bell back, and lost to South Lorraine 14-7. Tough game. Should have won the game, but lost, and we went to the Division II playoffs. Had 6 more players off of that team go, and then it just started growing, 82, 83, 84, and on up to you and Tripp were in school. I'm going to go backwards, and you ask about champion. I had over, Clement and I, because he coached with me the whole time, we had over 125 players sign athletic grant in aids from Division I, Division II, 1AA, junior college, all the way down, and then had several go to prep school and then move on. We won 2 state championships, 2004 and 2006. Great teams, but I tell people, and Coach and I have talked about this 100 times, we probably had 10 teams that were physically better, but the competition was better. Right. And we would get beat in first, second, third, or fourth round. We got beat 4 times in the semifinals with some of the best teams I ever had. You and Tripp were on the team, got beat in the 3rd round. Right. That if we get past Statesville, then we've got to go play Hickory, and we got to, it's kind of like it's the luck of the draw.
Yes,
you just that much, and y'all played, how that is. So we won. I think it was something like 12 or 13 conference championships, 17 district, 9 sectionals, 4 regionals. Won a bunch of championships. Had you and Jay. You were drafted by New England, and Jay was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens. And then we had Jay Graham, excuse me. And then we had several other players that had tryouts. Even my son, he was with the Jets for a while, but he didn't make the final cut. We had a lot that went to play in Canada. Some play at arenas, some play this. Okay. So very successful. But Jimmy, I think what our motto there at Concord was, we want to take you as a young person, young man, and we want to help you grow and become a man. And winning is a part of that. But y'all know through defeat, you learn so many valuable lessons. Absolutely. And I've learned so much more. Now, I didn't want to learn a lot because I didn't want to lose a lot.
Right.
But we won, in that time period, we won 254 games. We lost 100. Tied one back when they didn't have a playoff. But one of our best things, people ask me this, they'll say, how'd y'all do against Charlotte Catholic? I said, played them 10 times and they beat us once.
Right.
Whereas Charlotte Catholic is
like sailors, though. You remember that?
Yeah. But they're a perennial state playoff contender.
Right. But 2A though.
Yeah.
We're 2A.
And we played Kannapolis, and we played, Forest Hill. We played some great programs. And I was honored. I never, when I came to Concord, my goal was to be the best we could be, and I tried not to get fired. I want to tell you what my dad said. So when I interviewed, and there were 34 head coaches that got the opportunity, I was selected. And after I got the call and everybody found out, I called my dad. I said, Pop, I'm coming home. He said, you are? He said, yes, sir. He said, well, you'll be fine. You're smart enough, wise enough. You build your staff. He said, but I'm going to say something to you, and I don't mean it sacrilege, but you remember what happened to Jesus when he came home.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, and my dad was a big time person, teacher, Sunday school teacher. And I said, ooh,
where's he going?
Never had thought about that, because coming home, people knew me as Little Easy because I was his son. Then they knew me as Easy. And it was so funny. When I first came in, like I said, I had a mustache, try to look older. And even Coach today, we never call each other Easy and Clement. We really, it's still Coach. But I just told y'all, when you played, just call me Coach. Now, the day you graduate, you get that diploma, you want to call me by my first name, fine. And that's good. But, I appreciate it because we needed that respect. So, and I hope we reciprocated that because you both know, you would ask me a question and I'd say yes, sir, or no, sir. Trying to reiterate to you, this is a response you give to adults.
Absolutely. Now, see, I told you he could tell it. I told you he could tell it. We know he's a good talker. He has great gift of gab. But what I think about and I'm gonna let Tripp talk and ask some questions, but what I think about the most when I was playing with you is I had a bad game. I think it was the second game of the season, and you replaced me with Billy Gray.
Right.
Whew, that's his best friend. But you replaced me with Billy Gray. Billy throws a pass on the sideline to Steven Spencer. Steven Spencer takes off, runs down the sideline for his second play of the game. He throws a touchdown pass, right? So, and you had put me at quarterback,
right?
And really, I didn't have much
training.
Didn't have. I had very little training. I didn't really know the position.
That's right. You're younger.
I was a year younger.
Yeah.
And when he threw that touchdown pass and you took me out of the game for him,
Sure.
I came back to your office and I was crying like a baby.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember.
I was crying like a baby, right? I couldn't stop crying because I was thinking my career is over.
Right.
I'm serious. I really was thinking that. I was thinking my career is over. I'm going to just be one of those guys in the hood just standing on the corner. This is how much football meant to me at that time.
And football in Concord.
And football in Concord was just so huge. I mean, I couldn't stop. And you know what? Billy Gray was trying to console me.
Sure.
But nobody could actually console me because I started thinking it's over for me.
Billy's trying to console you because he knew he didn't have your talent, bro. He knew what was coming.
Right. But you know what? The next week, which is the third game of the season, we played Kannapolis. You put me back out there.
Sure.
All right. And when you put me back out there, I think that is what gave me confidence for the rest of my career.
Jimmy, as a coach, you make a decision about young people, but you don't kick them to the curb.
Right.
Now, I'm going to back up just a little bit. The people that don't know, when Jimmy was in the 7th grade, Jeff Goodnight brought you to me.
Yep.
And I took you to the Employment Security Commission.
That's right.
And got you a work permit.
Got me a work permit with JTPA.
At the age of 14.
At the age of 14.
You couldn't mow grass, couldn't weed
do
eat,
nothing.
but you could paint and sling and
Right.
pick up.
Absolutely.
Hair's going to stand up on my arm because I loved him so much. I would pick him up in the mornings at his house in Old Blue, the pickup truck, bring him to work with me.
Old Blue.
We'd get something to eat, we'd paint, we'd work together, we'd do this, do that. So you were more to me than just a regular football player.
Right.
I saw early when you were a freshman running back at Concord High School on the JV.
Tore my
I knew-
ACL that year.
I knew you could be a great one. But I knew we didn't have a quarterback that could do what I wanted done. I wanted the option. I wanted the bootleg. I wanted an active quarterback. I didn't want to drop back because we weren't going to throw it a lot. I knew you were going to be my quarterback. So I worked with you that summer to get you to that point. At that point in your career and in the game, it's kind of like in baseball when you get a relief pitcher, you really come out and stay out.
Right.
But just like what happened with Tom Brady and Drew Bledsoe, you know, if you're not good enough, you can't go back and take your position back.
Right.
And Brady was just so good. I knew
Absolutely.
Billy.
Someone I played
I knew
with.
we could win games. I knew in 2004 we could win a lot of games with Blair Troutman as our quarterback. But I knew to win the state championship, I needed Blair to be my spider back and Tommy to be my quarterback. I knew that in my mind. So that was not a punishment as much as it was hopefully being a teaching tool.
Teaching moment.
Which you never came
And
out
you're right.
again.
And after that, that really propelled me forward.
Sure.
Of course, this guy was my center. After that, we went on a good run, went into the playoffs. We lost to Kannapolis, but we went into the playoffs, and we had a pretty good run. We lost to Statesville. And once I lost that group of guys,
Right.
you know, it was a bit different because I was really
By yourself.
right, and I was kind of aged with them.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, we're surprised you got a scholarship after we left. we don't know how you did that. No, I told him it's because of me and Greg Irby and Lamont Morrison.
Right.
We're still waiting on our steak dinner from this cat. I mean, come on.
So I just wanted to say thank you for one.
You're welcome.
All right, and I mentioned this guy. All right, this guy right here. He kept me steady.
Sure.
You know, kept me steady. Just keeping my head on straight. Always trying to breathe confidence in me. And when I was wrong, he would go hard at me. You know. And it was like good cop, bad cop, but he was the bad cop.
Right.
You know, he was the bad cop. And it
in
was
a really good way.
It was a really good teaching lesson that I think that you gave to all of us. All right, all of us, and a lot of the men that you reared really have you really stand out in their lives. And I just want you guys, and we invited you here because you guys are so instrumental in our lives. And I don't think you guys know how much you were instrumental, right? So I just wanted to say those things starting out, and I'll turn it over to the man.
All right, here's what I want to say. I think our society has a problem now. I think the kids we're bringing up right now are in a bad way, and I think it's because of the way we're raising them. Mine and Jimmy's, we're kind of aging out, but I'm just watching what we've got. And it was important to me when he said we were going to talk to y'all, and I'm going to be honest, going through at my age and all of our ages, this whole low T, and you try and get your testosterone levels back up, and then your estrogen level, so if I start crying, I'm going to blame it on that bullshit, okay?
It's okay.
All right.
Because, I'm the most emotional out of the four
Out
of us here.
Well, I'm not supposed to be, but
No, it's okay.
here's what I've got to say. And I'm glad I got to see you today. And I'm disappointed myself, Coach Fleming. And it makes me cringe when you call him Clement, because it's rare. Like
Sure,
you said.
it is.
Y'all don't know what y'all did for guys like me, guys like Jimmy. Y'all just don't know. Now, I came from a different area, obviously. I mean, you couldn't have been. We could not find a better situation. Black guy from the hood, white guy from the doctor's side of town. My dad was a doctor, but that's where I lived. I came to football to Coach Fleming, and I thought I was just the shit, because that's what Coach Goodnight and all of them told me. And I got out there with Eric Anderson and those boys. Walt Byers. Holy
Horton.
shit.
Yeah.
Mike Horton.
Yeah.
Skibo.
Yeah.
Skibo.
And the best thing that ever happened to me is Coach Fleming pulling me aside and telling me, you ain't any good. You're too small. You're too slow. But if you listen to what I say, you let me coach you, you'll leave here a great football player and a better man.
Amen.
And when he said that to me as a freshman, when my mom had been diagnosed with cancer, and the first time she was diagnosed, I don't think we thought we were going to lose her. But still, that's hard. I had a piece of shit dad. Okay, my dad, y'all know him. My dad put on a good, drove a Cadillac, wore a suit, wore the Rolex, threw money at everybody, but my dad was a shithead. And I appreciate you two gentlemen for shielding me from that. That time on the football field was my time away from him, and just
The criticism.
the everything that my dad put me through. But I appreciate you for not pussifying it, for being you, okay? And I said something to you when we first came in that I will say on tape, and I'll catch hell for this. I joined the United States Army because I want to be like Coach Fleming. And the reason I want to be like Coach Fleming, and I would ask other coaches, I asked Robin Hayes, why is Coach Fleming the way he is? And they were like, what is that? I was like, he is proud. He is straightforward. He is no bullshit. And every one of them said because he's a former Marine. Okay? Now, the sad part is, in my little world, I didn't think I was man enough to match up to Coach Fleming. That's one of the reasons I literally joined, rather than join the Marine Corps, I said, I don't know if I can go that route. All right? I'm going to join the Army. All right? Now, when I say that, and he understands this because he's a veteran, and I hope all my veteran friends understand this, now I see that I could have, but I had beat myself up psychologically. I'm glad I did. Super proud of being in the Army. Okay? But I went and did 4 years in the Army because I knew when I left the Army, whenever that was, I would be proud as a peacock. And I appreciate Coach Fleming every day for that, because to be real frank with you, when I finally did decide to make that commitment, and Greg Overbay joined the Navy the same day, all right, when I finally made that commitment, I was drunk. I was drinking my way out of college. I mean, my grades were so bad they couldn't give me the rank they were supposed to give me because I had enough credit hours. Right. But they looked, they said, you're the dumbass, or you drink. Yeah, it's like I drank my way out. And it changed my life. And I'd become so wayward, I remembered the things that you taught us on the football field and the good cop, bad cop, okay? I hated when Coach Smith said, now y'all go report to Coach Fleming, because I knew it went from playing around and having, grab ass and laughing and joking, learning a ton. And that's not, you understand
Just
that.
different style.
Just different stuff.
To your dick's going to be put in the dirt and hard. And I so appreciate that. I've got a picture that I brag about, and I've got it framed, and I put it on Facebook. And I don't know if you remember, but I'm going to bring it down here and get you to sign it one day. And it's you got me by my helmet or my jersey or something. You're in my ass. Yeah, my jersey. Yeah. You're in my.
It's in the paper. It was in the paper.
It was in the paper. Yeah. Yeah. And you're giving me the Coach Fleming scolding and telling me it's going to be okay. And that's what was so unique about what you would, as they did in the Marine Corps and Army, they break us down, you bring us right back up. And I don't think you get enough. Because you're a personality coach, and let's be honest, it's not that open. You're not a flower, okay?
But it's not jubilant.
It's not jubilant. But let me tell you something. If you ever wonder, I know you did it for him, but it's there's not enough words to say thank you, and to both of you, because I know my dad gave y'all hell. I heard about it later. I think you told me one time some of the crazy shit he did. Did you guys know that he was paying the upperclassmen $20 and a bucket of chicken to see if they could knock me out?
I had no idea.
Yeah, he was going to like Eric Anderson, those boys, because they were upperclassmen, trying to toughen me up.
Trying to get him tougher.
Yeah, trying to toughen me up. Yeah, offering me out. If you knock him out, I could not understand why someone were hitting me under the chin strap. And it's because my dad. And then they're laughing and joking about it in class because I'm a freshman or sophomore, or whatever. And anyhow, I think you called it a couple times and reeled it back, which, to be honest with y'all, I was fine with it. Mm-hmm. But y'all taught us you're going to get knocked down in life. Yep. You got to get back up. Mm-hmm. And the two of y'all, so moving forward, I do want to ask, how did the both of y'all, and I'm a prime example, because when I came to you, I wasn't the most talented kid. I'm sure there was somebody that was better. I think, what was that kid's name that came from Charlotte school? It was a center. And I thought he was going to take you remember he came for
a second.
Yeah. And everybody's like, he's going to take Tripp's position. And I was like, I was all down in the mouth. I was like, And I think I went to Coach Fleming. I was like, hey, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's better looking than me. What the hell am I going to do here? But so what was it? And we appreciate it, but how did y'all manage who you would put on the field? Mm-hmm. Was it a genuine talent deal?
Let Clement talk about his side, and then I'll kind of tell you what I thought.
Well, to answer your question is this: you play that kid that comes in on Monday, and he busts his tail from Monday to Thursday. Mm-hmm. Right. He goes through, put up with me, and that's always a plus, you know. Right. The guy is just a standing ovation. But the bottom line is, you build a trust in that kid. Okay. You know when it's fourth and inches, that kid is going to show up. Mm-hmm. I always had an old saying is that, when the going gets tough, that's when the tough get going. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Great answer.
And another thing, too, is you find out if you get a 15-yard penalty, or if you get a 5, you jump offside. You don't get down yourself. Hey, play the next play. Yeah. Right. Jimmy Hitchcock, Trip Roberts, they play the next play. Mm-hmm. When you come to the sideline in the huddle, not tell you, Tripp, how about playing for us? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
stop playing for the other team.
Right. Yeah, they don't need no help. They us, you see? But the bottom line was, you look at me and you played the next play. Rather than get all down, start beating down on yourself, you played the next play. But to me, that was a sign of pride. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, hey, you might be all bad, but you ain't going to beat me. Right. And that's what my thing is, I'm going to fact to say, now see, if you would do that means you won't quit on your family. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When your child is sitting there and made a bonehead decision. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And you was dad, who you gonna come? Nobody else gonna come to him, but you will because you love him. Yeah. Right. See. Good answer. And those are the things that I tried to build in. Now, my way probably was tough. Yes. I wouldn't have liked me. You know what I'm saying? Right. But the bottom line was, is that trust you build and that toughness you see in that kid and that pride.
Okay.
Tripp, you made a point about good cop, bad cop. Let me tell you, everywhere I go in Concord, I go to Food Line, get my groceries. There's a girl back there that cuts meat. Coach Smith, how's Coach Fleming? I said, he's good. I loved him so much. Said, he called me a debutante, even though I wasn't a cheerleader. and I wasn't from that side of the, but he always called me a debutante. And I love him so much. And he would yell at me and scream at me, but I know he loves me. And y'all were just so much different. And I said, well, we both had a different kind of love. It was that the love that I try to give is what my mother gave, that agape love that God
Agape,
wants us to all have, you know, all surrounded. It doesn't matter what you love. I said, Coach Fleming wants you to understand he loves you, but he's training you for adulthood. He's not, I heard him so many times say to you and Jimmy and many others, when you graduate from high school, Coach Smith's not going to be out there hiring you.
Yeah.
He's not going to be out there to love you and this. Now, you can call him, and he can make one phone call and get you that job, but he ain't going to be there every day.
Yeah.
And that's the compliment that he and I piggybacked all five, all those years. You ask about talent. I always let Clement. What I did, I always took the best kids and put them on offense. Every other place we played, I did. And everybody else would put them on defense. And they'd say, why? I said, well, I want my best to play their best, you know?
Right.
And I always based my offense off my quarterback. If you could run the option, we did this. If you were I, we did this. If you were a wing T, we did that. The only argument Clement Fleming and I had in 28 years was over Jay Graham. So Jay Graham comes in as a freshman, and Jay,
I remember.
you know, Jay was fast, and his sister Kim won 2 gold medals. Jay could outrun her.
Right.
Jay was unbelievable. Him and Jimmy,
Unreal.
they were on a relay team that was phenomenal. So Clement comes to me and says, I'm going to take Graham with me. I said, well, what are you going to do with him? He's going to be a nose guard. I said, Coach. So Jay's
he did play. He did play nose guard that year.
Jay's freshman year.
I remember that.
Kind of fat and
He was
chubby.
kind of. He was a little bit. He was a
There
little
it
bit chubby.
is. There it is. You hear what Coach Fleming just said? He's kind of fat and chubby.
And he laughed. So
How many times he told me, you ain't husky, you fat.
Clement looked at me and said,
Oh, Jay gonna
I'm
trip
gonna
on this
make
one
him a
here.
man.
Yeah.
And I was like, and of course, I got his mama, his daddy, his sister, everybody. And so I knew how fast he was. So I didn't say anything. I let him. So then I go to Jay after Christmas. And I knew he was a track runner. I said, listen, I'm going to move you up to the varsity. You're going to be a starting running back. We'll run split back veer. You and Quentin Carr are going to be the 2 running backs.
Quentin Carr.
Quentin's junior, you're a sophomore. Kenny Robinson's going to be our starting quarterback as a sophomore.
That's why I left.
So it's Jimmy had gone. It's, you know.
Yeah.
So we bring him up. Clement's like, Graham, when we go defense, you with me. Jay's like, Coach. I said, Jay, you stay with me. So I gave him to Padgett to be a linebacker.
Yeah.
He
I remember
backed
those
up
days.
David and Houston.
And Houston.
Jay was and Jay was a pretty good linebacker.
Sure.
Clement
And
stayed
Ray
mad
Massey.
at me. He would say, you know, Byron Weeks won the 100 meters and he was a nose guard. I said, Clement, trust me. If Jay Graham ever gets to go to college, it ain't going to be as a nose guard. It's going to be as a running back. So
He just wanted somebody over there. He wants some people over there on that defensive
So when
side.
Jay signed with Tennessee and goes up there and sits out the first 2, and then makes all SEC and all this and all that.
yeah.
I
Clement
think he
looked
made
at me and-
All-American. too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, Clement at that time was coaching running backs. By the time I had moved him to coach on offense,
I
running
can't see
backs.
Coach Fleming doing
Oh,
running
he did a great job.
Really?
He did great.
Wow.
He had Jay, Ray, David, and Houston as the running backs.
You can't help it.
Wasn't hard to do,
You can't-
Wasn't very hard.
Coach Goodnight could have coached that crew.
Anybody could have coached that group.
So anyway,
Let me tell you.
all I had to
I
do was
always
get-
say
Stop
that.
bagging
You know
on
what I
Coach
mean?
Goodnight.
All I had to do was get the bus
You know, talent
loaded.
high.
All I had to do was get the bus loaded. But Clement coached him. And then he would get Jay, don't talk to me. Don't you look at me. If you look at me, I'm going to move you back to nose guard. And so he would be on Jay. He'd pop Jay in the head. Jay loved it. But Jay tells, just like you two,
Yeah.
I love Coach Smith, the way he did me and the way he promoted me.
Yeah, yeah.
He said, but Coach Fleming made me a man.
Yeah.
He said, when I was running that dive in the veer
Yeah.
without a fullback in front of me,
Right.
and I had somebody, I could run through him because Coach
Yeah.
Fleming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew I'd hear, when you gonna play for me, Graham?
Yeah.
Instead of them.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wanted to say that about.
I didn't realize y'all had that kind of relationship. I didn't realize it.
Oh, we did, and it was so funny because, and we had our times between the two of us because he said, "Now, I know you the head coach, but I'm gonna tell you how I feel because I ain't no yes man." And I was like, "Coach, you can tell me." He said, "I know it ain't gonna be nothing, but I'm gonna tell you anyway." So, but we had such a good rapport with our players,
Right.
and I send Tripp and Greg and Clement and Gordon and everybody on Veterans Day and different things. And I tell them, thank you for my freedom and my family's safety.
Oh, Gordon Brown was very
Right.
instrumental
But
in
I
my
don't-
life too.
but
Gordon's
Jimmy,
He was still in the reserve when we were in with him, right?
Yeah.
He was still.
Yes.
He's still doing it. I think
he's still out.
I think it's still. Yeah,
He's still involved.
I talked to him the other day.
Joel's your oldest son?
No, Jeff. Only
Jeff.
Then Joel.
Then
And
Joel.
he was at West Rowan.
Right. All of them went to West.
All of them. Yeah.
So that year that we had to play,
Right.
and everybody kept talking about, the first thing I'll say, funny little story, is we had no idea that Coach had kids.
Sure.
And we were going around saying, Coach Fleming has kids? And then the next thing we all were saying, who the heck had relations with Coach Fleming? How'd that happen?
Miss Carr.
Who was his wife? Right. That's
Anyhow.
what everybody- yeah.
Best thing ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Oh, listen. Let me stop you right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
When he came to the back door, Coach, what did Cora make you do?
Take my shoes.
Take her shoes off before he come in the house. Look, Tripp, when I went to visit, Coach, you need to get your shoes off. Yes, ma'am. So
Oh,
she ran the house.
She's the one that
yeah.
calmed it all down, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That year when we were playing your son, I would have never known we were playing your son. I mean, Coach Flynn was like, you do your job.
Sure.
I'm going to coach you up. And
That was the hardest game ever that we had.
The press followed us around for that one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one WBTV came.
Yeah, they
They
followed us
actually
around for
got
that
like
one.
an
and
Emmy or
yeah,
some kind
got,
of award.
They got an
3
award for
days.
that. Yeah, for 3 days. So
Friday at Concord High School.
I think that's on YouTube.
Shan
I've seen
Bradshaw,
it.
Shan
I've
Bradshaw
seen it.
shared it on Facebook.
I think,
I'll
back.
send
yeah,
it to
3
both
years
of you.
back. Yeah,
I've
we
got it.
Coach
need-
Smith comes out in the
We need to put that
remember
up
he came
on
out in
the
the
show.
huddle and
Brent-
Brent was
podcast.
supposed to.
Yeah.
Lamont was like,
Yeah, I'll find it for you. I'll put it
Yeah,
on
get out of here.
Get out of here. God, I'm
I hope
out
they
of
don't
here.
catch that on
They ain't got that
camera.
on camera.
Yeah. So going past that, y'all come in in 1980.
Right.
All right. What was the racial environment like then? What was it like
Let me
to
say
be
the
a black
percentage,
man
and you
first?
Tell that, Clint.
Yeah. To
We
be a
were-
black
we
man
were 60
in 1980 in Concord, North Carolina.
We were 65% white,
Right.
35% black.
Black.
There were just a few, like Hong Tran and some family members, Vietnamese, very few Hispanic, very few, or if any, Chinese were the Clement. It was 65-35, basically, white to black.
Really?
Yes, and the
Wow.
ratio of teachers.
That's not. I didn't think it was that.
Oh, it was.
This is 80.
It was. This is 1980.
We're 10 years later,
And
bro.
see, Jimmy, this is before we merged with Cabarrus County Schools when they
Oh,
started
yeah,
sending
yeah.
our
Kids out.
Logan community everywhere else.
Yeah.
And
Everywhere.
it dropped down. Now, I would
Right.
bet our African American community there, Clement, might be maybe 15 or 20, but our Hispanic committee or group may be the same. I mean,
Now?
now.
Or-
No,
yeah, now it is. Now it is. No,
Right,
no doubt
it's-
about it.
It's not, and
No
there's
doubt
still
about it.
probably 60% white at Concord.
Right.
But
But then the racial makeup when we came through,
Sure.
High.
Yeah.
Very high. Yeah.
very high.
Right.
Very high. So could you speak to any of that?
Well,
What it was like?
I'm not going to live long enough to tell a whole story behind that.
Of course.
But the bottom line was, it's like any other typical community, you know? You had 65% white, 35% black, you know what I'm saying? You had, that's what you had. That was the way of life. You follow me?
Right.
Then what you had to do is go in and say, okay, what difference can I make? You see? And that was always my attitude. What difference can I make? You see? Can I go
How can you
in?
affect the kids?
How can I
completely?
affect that kid? How can I make those kids say, hey, look, we can get along. We ain't got to like each other. We ain't got to love each other. We got to learn to deal with each other. You see what I'm saying? There are plenty of folks. 75% of people I met, I didn't like care for them.
Right.
But I had to learn how to deal with them on a positive note.
Right.
With a gun, fighting, wasn't going to catch it. My coach, former late coach Big House Gaines, always said, if you're going to make a difference, nothing wrong with being on the street saying, okay, here we got to go. But you got to get in the room where decisions are made.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can make a difference.
Or you got to own the room.
Right.
But did you guys?
Right. You got to own it. And that's not in the day, but that wasn't going to happen.
Right.
But you had to be in there to get a piece of that and let them know, hey, I'm intelligent. I might be blind. First of all, I'm a human being, and I'm smart.
Right.
And I'm not going to apologize, none of that.
Right.
Yeah.
But here's what's going on. You see?
Yeah.
And that was the whole key right there.
Did y'all make the conscious decision though? I never ever felt one time that you treated me a certain way because I was a white kid, or you treated Jimmy a certain way because he's black. Did y'all make that conscious decision, or is that just natural?
I can only say this. Here's what my thing was. I was going to come in there. It's always what color I was.
Yeah.
I mean, you see, I didn't look like you.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
You know what I mean? The bottom line was I was going to come in there and say, I'm going to be fair across the board.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, if they want to get on me for being hard on everybody, then you ain't going to say, I'm hard on that black kid, I'm hard on that white kid, I'm on Hispanic kid.
Yeah, yeah.
I was going to be fair across the board.
To everybody.
Right.
What I'm trying to do is teach the law of this land. What they
Right.
say in our Constitution, you know.
Right.
You know, follow it, which is
Equal.
still lying about right to the day.
Yeah.
And that disturbs me right to the day, you know.
Yeah.
And I have to be very careful now, because now my personal feelings are coming out. But bottom line, I'm trying to say
it's
to you
fine.
now is that
It's fine if personal feelings come
I was trying to say this, but I'm still trying to teach you to be a man.
Absolutely.
Okay?
And Jimmy, this was only 13 years after integration in Concord. We integrated 67, 68.
Oh
This
wow. I
is
forgot
80.
about that. Yeah.
So see, things were changing, not fast enough, not to the point. But I think, you know.
Well, let's let him finish this
I was,
this
but
thought right
that was-
there.
And the two is, back up a little bit, I was the first to integrate.
Right.
Where'd you
My county.
Where'd you go to school?
Davie County High School.
Okay. Okay.
And it was
Davie
like
County.
Yeah.
2%. 2%.
Good.
2% black.
Davie County. That's
And I grew up in a little
shout out
town.
to Justin Drone. He's a politician down there.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I grew up in the hometown.
Close to Knoxville?
Coolman. It's Coolman, North Carolina.
Right,
It's Coolman
right.
and Knoxville.
In
Well, I
Knoxville.
grew up in Coolman. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you okay?
Population about 1,000, maybe a little bit more. But
what's up.
one thing I go back to, we all had pride.
Right.
Every starter on the Davie County football, basketball team, half of them came from Coolman. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Coolman, little mill town.
Yeah.
Right.
You follow me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody knew it about it. And most of it was kin, you know what I'm saying? Right to the day. You know, my mentor just passed away. I still go back to Coolman right now and have a little basketball camp. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what we do is,
awesome.
this for the kids of Coolman, you know what I'm saying? That's all. And I still do that right to the day.
Awesome.
And the bottom line I'm trying to say is that being one of the first blacks to go to a predominant white school, all these things play against me. When I came to Concord, I was only first black on staff. You know what I'm saying? But that was, well, anyway, everybody had one black coach. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that term was always, we got to find some good black coach.
Right.
Okay,
Well,
so what you're telling
yeah.
me now, you got
Yeah.
6 great white coaches?
Yeah.
You see, that was my attitude. And I found out, of
course
if
it
we
was.
got to find a good black teacher.
Right.
I mean, well, hell, if the white teacher's good, that's not true. But I had all kinds, you know.
Exactly.
That's great.
So the
Yeah.
point I'm trying to say
Yeah.
is, these are the things that, you know, you can take as a negative or positive.
Yeah.
Or you can take and just deal with it. And that's what I chose to do.
Yeah,
I try to teach my
And
children.
that's
I
what
try
I
to
was
pass it
trying.
on
That's
to you
what,
all.
that's
You
what
know
I
what
was
I'm saying?
thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking coming down here is how you dealt with it and treated everybody the same.
Well, let me start back again.
And that.
Well,
is
let
the
me say
thing
this
that
to you. I give my late wife
really
credit.
appreciate.
Because had not it been for her, I'd have probably ended up in jail.
Right.
But the bottom line was, she would say to me sometime, now listen, if you want to be a head football coach, if you want to do all these things, then you've got to set a tone. You've got to lead by example.
Right.
Rather than that old hardcore, you don't need that right now. You don't need that.
Awesome.
Because these kids they're not going to respond to you. But you can carry yourself in such a way,
Yeah.
as you pointed out, and you did too. But the point I'm trying to say is, you carry yourself in such a way, then they're going to have to say, wait a minute, what's with him? You know what I'm saying? You know, and I am very quiet. Right now to this day, you know, I'm private.
Right.
Because I don't have it. My kids are grown, you know. Bottom line, that was part of it. But every day, that's what I got from her. Then when I come home angry, she would stop me and say, hold it. You're not at Concord High School. You're a father now. Now be a father. Leave that out.
That's a great woman. We all need one of those in our lives.
Well, that's why I said, I spoke at her funeral, and I said, everything I've achieved in life should have a name on it.
Yeah.
Even down to my college degree. But hey, I told like it was, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the bottom line was, I told it every day, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that's the whole key. And those are things I try to teach you all, and I always say it to you, every kid. I never told what you can't become. I would always say, now, hey, if you want to be a doctor, or if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be own your own business, now you're going to have to burn the midnight oil.
Right.
Yeah.
You see,
Work.
Yeah,
The work
work.
comes from.
you're going to have to work now,
Yeah,
okay?
right.
Now, some people who are smart, academically smart, and that's great. I got a brother.
Like
smart as I don't know what.
No, yeah.
No, I'm serious, smart as I don't know what. But you know what? He can't go out there and take a lawnmower and mow yard and beautify yard.
Yeah.
But you put him in a room with somebody, hey, he can
Yeah.
do it. You follow me? I call him, he got a golden tongue. That's why I don't like it. No, I always kid him. He's my brother, you know. But
Right.
what I'm trying to say to you, these were the things I tried to teach, you know. And then when I would talk to a kid, like I did you all, I'd say, hey, look, here's what's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to make that decision. Don't give them a reason,
Right.
okay? Make them look at you differently.
Right.
Surprise them.
Right.
Now, that oftentimes I made folks uncomfortable, you see.
Right.
Well, that's what I plan to do. Because I wanted you to see, hey, I'm not stupid.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what I always tried to carry myself when I would speak to my kids.
Yeah.
And with you all was different. You understood me because I spent so much time with you.
Right.
When you walked in that building at 7:15, I was standing there looking at you.
Yeah.
At 7:15 at night, you were saying, "Oh, we get to
Yeah.
going home now. Finally, get away from
Yeah,
them."
right,
You
yeah.
know. So all these things kind of tie in.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, I tried to make every day positive, and I tried to first listen to you.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And then when people come to me and
Yeah.
ask me certain questions, you know, I just be straight and honest.
Awesome. Now, I want to hear from your perspective. What did you feel like the racial tone was? How things were in during that era?
I grew
Because I mean, if we are going to be honest and truthful,
Oh yeah.
did you call black people from the time you were in third grade all the way up to
When I was referring to him, like if I
Yes,
said Jimmy,
like-
my black friend,
right, or would it be nigger?
nah, I probably stopped using the N word in the middle in
Middle school. But see, that you hear what he just said.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? So
But you know
all
why?
the way
though?
through.
But-
I know why.
Yeah,
I know why.
yeah.
But all the way through elementary school, and we're talking about this because this is part of our show,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What we're trying to do is delve into race, but we understand that race is really not a problem.
It's not. It's really
You know,
not.
It's really not a problem. It's race is only a problem when you make it.
When you highlight it.
Because you can't talk about it. You
Yeah.
can't say
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Right? So what Tripp and I want to do is to make this taboo topic
Talk about it.
something to talk about.
We have a black coach at Avery High right now.
Right.
My county is 96% white. And he played at Carolina.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I'll get his name for you. He played
Oh,
football
okay.
at Carolina.
I think I know. who
Yeah,
that is.
and it's not a problem until the media brings it up. And for some reason, and I actually called him out for this, I said, why y'all highlighting Coach, I'm going to use Coach Fleming, I can't remember his gentleman, Coach Fleming, the black coach at Avery.
Sure.
What the hell is that about? He's the damn football coach.
Yeah.
He's leading men in high school. And like Jimmy and I have talked about, I think part of our problem is we are talking too much as African Americans, or
Right.
we need to get away from that and just be Americans. And like Jesus here, okay? Jesus is the elephant in the room. And the reason I say that is right now that's the number one thing in this upcoming election, which, by the way, gentlemen, we're fucked. Okay?
How you really feel?
How you really feel?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
we're screwed.
We
He
can
got
tell.
that from you.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, he
Coach
tell it like
Fleming,
it is. He
right
tell it
there,
like it is.
right
I
there.
mean-
And I stay in trouble, and I have a wife like you had, Miss Cora, and that's Maria. If it was not for her, I'd be off the chain with her. back to what we're doing.
Let me say this.
Sure,
Trip.
sure.
Yes.
I grew up here in
Right.
Concord. Born in '53. During
God,
that
you are
time, I'm 70.
Yeah,
You're
my
75?
mom same.
But
But
hey,
thing.
34%
listen,
found
I got a
birthday.
lot of people that think I'm still 50.
Nobody thinks that, Coach. Nobody
So
thinks
anyway,
that, Coach.
Clem, tell them.
CJ don't know what to do. That's him hitting on you, CJ. You need to leave before he does.
I was hitting on the camera. So anyway, I grew up in the 50s. And during that time, and Coach knows the same thing, words that were used back then to explain were like with our African American, our black community was Negro.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
in the 50s.
Negro.
And then
Colored.
in the
Colored.
then
Colored.
it went to colored.
Yeah.
It went from Negro to colored.
Colored.
Just straight
Colored
Negro.
to Negro.
Colored to Negro.
Colored,
Yeah.
Colored to
well, that
Negro
was
to
before
African
me,
American.
Yeah.
to black to now
African.
African American.
Right.
So
Black to African American.
a lot of times white people, Caucasians, are careful
Yeah.
about what they want to say.
Yeah.
Clement and I have had this discussion a lot because what I tried to do was love y'all no matter what.
Yeah.
I had a comment one time. Jimmy, you and Tripp, Clement knows, you and Tripp will never know the letters, cards, calls, threats I got when I would play a white quarterback.
That's what I was asking you.
A black
That's why I was
quarterback.
asking you that.
One time,
That's what I wanted to
One
get to.
time I did in the
Wanted to get
note
to.
in the newspaper, 1984.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I don't know what y'all are complaining about because in 80 and 81, I had a white quarterback. I had Mike Tomlin, Luther Huffman. In 1982, we had Hong Tran, who was Vietnamese.
That's right.
Right.
That's
I
right.
forgot about Hong Tran.
did too.
1983,
He was actually pretty good.
He was decent.
Yeah.
1983, I had Jimmy Fleming. Who's more diverse than me?
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't look at them as white, black, Vietnamese. I based our offense around the most athletic person I had. You and Andre were not the greatest quarterbacks,
Right.
but you were the greatest athletes.
Yeah.
You were all state.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
played in bowl games. You went off to college.
Yeah.
But I knew what I needed to score points. Could I have put a different person back there? Certainly. To hand off, to pitch, to throw. Later on, we had Tommy Beecher and Dee Bost, two very opposites. But Tommy threw for 4,000 and Dee threw for 3,000 and rushed for 2,000. You know,
Right.
so
He was nice.
the things that I did, I never allowed the negativism to come in when it came to deciding. Like I would say, Coach Goodnight, who are your 5 best offensive linemen? And I said, well, let's look at this. Let's grade it. Clement, who are your 5 best front 5? Glenn, who are your best linebackers? Gordon, who's your best secondary?
And it was just the best. Have a good
And
day.
it was, you put the best out there. Now, if the best was Jimmy Hitchcock at quarterback and Spider, and Tripp at nose guard and center and
nose.
3
Yeah.
technique,
Yeah.
then we're
Because
going
we
to
had
play
to play both ways.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Then
we
when
had
you
19,
get-
20 players sometimes.
Right.
17.
Yeah,
Right.
17, 18 start the season.
Yeah, and so
And then
what I
Coach kicked
did,
some of us off.
I was able to deflect a lot of stuff
Right.
because we won.
Right.
See, there's the key. You were talking about your coach at Avery.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
If you're winning.
Black, white, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, if you're winning.
Male, female,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
As long as you're winning.
Yeah.
Now you start losing just like Dr. Irvin did me when we lost 3 games.
Yeah.
Easy. You're regressing. See, at Concord, losing 3 was not good. Kannapolis, same way. Charlotte Catholic.
Now we
You
lose
know,
7 in a row.
Statesville.
Yeah,
I
states,
don't know.
places like that.
We're terrible now. I
Now
think.
It's
we
shocking.
get coaches in that lose 10, 11 games. Clement will tell you, had I lost 4 straight games in a row, what would Bill Irvin have done to me, Coach? He'd have fired me.
Okay,
It'd be
but what's changed? Why are we allowing for that?
Well,
That's what I don't understand.
Today,
And don't tell me it's the talent's changed in Concord.
Well-
it's the coaching.
well, it's not that, Trip. I'm gonna try to explain. Our lines have been drawn differently.
Right.
We
That's the
have
biggest
lost
thing.
a lot of
We
kids.
lost a lot
Where
of kids
Jimmy
where
lived
where
when he
the
was in
Logan
high school,
area.
it is predominantly Hispanic.
Right.
And a lot
bottom?
of yes,
Is
the Logan community.
The Logan community is
still,
a little.
but it's got down
broken
toward
up a
the
little.
bridge.
It's broken
A
up.
lot
little
of the African
Broken up a
American
lot.
families that can afford have moved in where my mom and dad lived.
Right.
And people like my mom and dad, they've moved to other.
You know where Tony Ritchie
places.
lives? Mm-hmm. Oh, that area.
Mama lived right beside.
Right beside.
You know, so
Okay.
a lot of
So that area
African
right there-
American,
Where's it going to school now?
they'll go to Concord.
They go to Concord.
Okay.
But my point is, they've drawn the line. In 1990, I think it was 90. They went right down Lincoln Street. Jimmy had left and gone to Carolina. Go right down because Oshawa was younger than you.
Oshawa,
And
yeah.
Go right down Lincoln Street. Oshawa, Terry, and LaShonda Benjamin live in the same house, Trip. Same house. Oshawa's in the 8th grade. Terry's in the 6th. LaShonda's in the 5th. Oshawa got to go to Concord. Terry and LaShonda had to go to Mount Pleasant.
Yes, Mount Pleasant. I forgot about that.
They went right down the street and said, if you live here, if you're not in the 8th grade going into the 9th.
Oh.
Okay? So they started that in the 90s. They took the Logan community and they quartered it. This side goes to Concord, this goes to Mount Pleasant, this goes to Central. And then when they opened Robinson, they started taking more and more. And now we have a lot of kids that live in the Logan
Hickory is in
community
Cabarrus.
Yeah.
that go to West Cabarrus.
It's in Harrisburg, but still.
Trip. West Cabarrus is past Country Club. And we got kids in the Logan community
Going out there.
busting out there. So we're not getting what we got
Right.
when I was there.
Well,
Now,
are
let
they
me say
3A
one
or
other
2A
thing.
now?
We're 3A, still 3A. The other thing is the middle school has dropped 7th grade football. They only have 8th grade. 7th graders can play 8th grade. So that means 45 people, 2 years ago, 45 people that played 7th grade and 45 that played 8th. 90 kids, only 45 can play. So that means if you're too old for Pop Warner, you sit a year out and not play football.
yeah.
Let me tell you one more. Our Cabarrus County Boys and Girls Club,
Yeah.
we no longer have youth football there or youth basketball
What?
and things. Things have changed
Oh yeah, I heard
in
that
our
they scrapped
community.
That whole
But
program.
why?
I don't know the answer to that. 'Cause
Well, where
I
have you
am
been?
so-
Well, you've been out playing golf? I mean, you
I
got the
have-
biggest mouth in Concord.
I'm taking care of my grandchildren. So,
Take
and
them with
I'm not a political person, so I
Okay.
don't get into
So you don't
all
get
that.
into the politics.
But with all of those changes, we don't have Little League Baseball, Babe Ruth Baseball anymore. That was so big. We don't have, like my granddaughters and grandsons would have to probably go out around Northwest or Hartselle or those places to play sports as a youth. So, like Audrey Lee's daughter's taking volleyball at Mount Pleasant with a lady that lives in Albemarle. So I say that's kind of what happened to Concord and Kannapolis. Kannapolis doesn't have 7th grade football.
You're now explaining to me what's going on with our society.
So,
I mean,
and
think about
Trip,
it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
if
say
If
one
they can't be
last thing,
coached, they can't
and
be
Clement,
bossed.
Right.
Clement and I agree 100% on this. We started seeing in the 2001, 2, 3, after 9/11, we started seeing parents, and I don't want to be critical of parents. Please don't take this literal.
I'll be critical. Go
Some
ahead.
parents
Well,
decided they want to be their child's friend instead of their parent.
There it
I
is.
told my children
There it
and
is.
my grandchildren, I am not your friend.
Absolutely.
Go find friends.
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm coach,
Right.
pops, daddy. That's all I am.
Have a good day.
Clement and I are the same way in this.
Yeah.
Right.
We do our, and like my youngest granddaughter's 6, she said, Pops, I want you to be my best friend. I said, sweetheart, I love you more than my life. You're my blood. I'll never be your best friend. I will be your grandfather that will catch you when your mom, dad, and your Patty are not around. I'll be there, I promise.
Yeah.
Till they put me up in Oakwood Cemetery. Absolutely. So you asked the question, what's going on? I think a lot of places, parents are reluctant to do something. Clement and I used to laugh. We'll give you the number to DSS if we spank you.
Yeah.
You know, we'll
Yeah,
call
yeah,
them for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
You know, that was never a threat to us. I could hear it toward the end of my career at Concord. If you got sent to the office, the first thing they did, Mama, I need you to come to the office.
And Mom came flying up there raising
Yeah.
her.
We're going to bring some teachers in here, and we're going to talk to some teachers about what's actually going on with the youth these days and what they're getting from the youth. I see all the time where kids are attacking teachers.
I couldn't imagine somebody attacking
Like-
Coach Fleming
like-
or Coach Smith. I mean,
This is the thing. If someone would have attacked a teacher,
I would have jumped in and
we would have jumped in
and attacked.
Right.
Yeah.
We would have jumped in. So,
Yeah, you ain't gonna attack coaches.
like say somebody would have attacked Miss Stallings.
Yeah.
Somebody would have
Skibo
been
would have
beat
whooped that
down.
person's ass.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but people are filming it
Yeah.
with the iPhone or whatever instead of jumping in and doing something about it.
Right.
It's unbelievable
Jimmy,
what's
that
happening.
started, I think, right after Columbine.
Really?
I
Yeah.
think once Columbine came in,
Yeah.
because Coach and I, we used to, when we would have threats at our school, like bomb or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
we were in charge of getting the kids to the stadium or the practice field to protect them, not allow them to leave, and for the police, and the rescue, and everybody to come in and make sure the building's clear. But our job was to take 1,300 kids, and me and Clement take care of them. Right. Because they trusted us.
Right.
And after Columbine, you started to see more and more. And, you know, cell phones, I really didn't have a cell phone until Z went to Penn State in early 2000. I didn't have one.
Needed it.
And Coach,
You have one, Coach?
I got one. My wife got ill. That's the only reason. When she got ill, and she started having, she had a seizure. Or something.
Yeah.
I had to have one. I had to have
You
one.
still keep one now?
Well, I got ready to throw it away, and my kids said, "No, you're not either." 'Cause after she passed and everything, you know,
Right.
And that's why I had said to raise Jared, but I was gonna throw mine away because I said, "Guys, I'm only gonna be one or two places.
Right.
If I'm not at work, I'm gonna be at home.
Yeah.
Right.
Or I'll be somewhere with Jared."
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he said, "Daddy, you need a cell phone."
Yeah, so-
Well, give me your perspective on what's going on with the youth.
Well, can I start this? First of all, mental illness is playing a big part in our society now. Now, people are playing on it too now. You guys
People
know
are
that.
playing on it.
You know that now.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
All right. Let's get past the next part. That part's being
We know
played
that.
on right now.
Right.
The other part, and Coach has mentioned to it, and you all have said it, it's in the homes.
Parents.
These parents are not raising their children. I don't care who you are.
Right.
Black, blue, green, yellow, polka dot. They're not raising their children. You can't be a child's friend.
Right.
All of my kids' worst enemy. Like now, they tell the grandkids, that's not the man
That's
that
not
grew up
the
in
same
the house
guy.
with. You know what I'm saying?
I couldn't imagine.
But the bottom line I'm trying to say is parents are not taking responsibility for the children.
Right.
Then, with the mental illness part and all this, then they come in. And when that kid decides he wants to act crazy and jump on a teacher and kind of thing, well, the teacher don't have any leverage.
Right.
So he has to go back up.
We got to
Exactly.
give them back their leverage.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
If you look at the kid wrong now, you're what? You're abusing him.
You're abusing them. Yeah.
Picking on them.
And as soon as they say, "Hey, this guy I feel threatened by this person,"
Right.
you get reprimanded.
Thank
the
you.
teacher
Like
gets
now,
reprimanded.
I still do a little drive age, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I still do that some. But the bottom line is, the first thing I tell them right quick, I said, listen, if you're not going to listen, goodbye.
Yeah, get out.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
Not in a few minutes, not tomorrow, now.
No.
Go with
And
your
that's
friends. See what I'm saying? Because I'm going to teach you the safe way to drive. Now, when you get on your own, you drive like you want to.
Drive like
Drive like a fool.
Yeah.
But when you're in the car with me,
You
do
going to
what
drive like I say, or you leave.
Yeah.
Now, in this conversation, you're not going to sleep either.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're going to sleep, I'm not going to
You're
touch
not gonna
you.
be on that phone.
Yeah.
Get somebody, that phone going in the console or you going home.
I think phones are a big problem with kids.
It is. And that's another thing, too, you see. Then they got these rules say, well, you know what? He want to text. He's texting. I'm sitting up there talking. I see kids. See, all this. Now, the main thing should be, if you're going to have a rule. Don't bring that cell phone on this campus.
Not in class, yeah.
No, don't bring it on the campus.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't
Leave it in
I
the car.
agree with
leave
that.
it in the car.
Yeah.
Leave it at home. I don't care.
Yeah.
Why do
If
they
you
need
bring-
one on
They
the
don't.
campus?
Well, the excuse
we didn't have one.
But the excuse that you'll get, and I was in law enforcement for a while, and the excuse that law enforcement would give, well, the kids need to be able to contact if there's an emergency. No, the hell they don't.
Right.
They got teachers there. They're in a controlled
Pick up the
setting.
phone, hit it now.
Right.
Yeah.
They
Thank
go
you.
through the proper
Yeah.
procedure to
Hey,
get there.
and
It's-
the principal,
it's a
they got,
protocol.
they got it right to the principal phone number is right there.
Right there.
To the
Right.
They got
police
intercoms.
office. Intercom on.
Yeah.
Why you get a phone? So what I'm trying to say to you, if you bring that on this campus here, you're gonna be suspended,
Right.
and you won't have to do that about a half a semester.
That's all it would take. Mm-hmm. That's all it would take.
Board, county board, board of education, superintendent, protect that.
And support
Right.
the teachers.
Support it.
Look,
Yeah.
right. You are not gonna bring this on this campus. Is not in the conversation.
Bottom line.
If you get caught, you out of here.
You out.
All right, you two gentlemen talk for how many years?
I gotta
Sure,
say,
go.
I gotta
Yeah.
say two
Yeah.
things
Okay.
before we close down.
Okay.
Number one, at Concord, we have an excellent head football coach.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, we don't want to leave
no,
it
no,
like
no.
that because we
He-
did
yeah.
kind of talk
he
bad on him.
came out and
And I was there last year.
yeah,
and met him.
he
He's a
has
good guy.
done a wonderful job. Got us turned around.
What's his name?
Shepherd.
Darren.
Darren
Oh, okay.
Shepherd.
Yeah. Okay.
Darren,
Okay. Yeah.
and he came. He'd been at Shelby, had some head coaching experience, but first year won a couple of games. This past year, almost could have been 8-2. Had a couple of games that just
Good. Good.
but didn't have the numbers. And but he's doing the right things. First thing he did, he called me. He said, "I want to sit down with you, have lunch, and I want to know what makes Concord tick." And that's
Oh God.
I said, it's going to take a lot longer than lunch. But we did. We spent about 3 hours.
Well, good for him. That's
No
smart.
football.
That was smart.
That's
Yeah,
smart.
great stuff.
No
And then
football.
he invited the old alum.
He brought every alumni.
That's smart.
And had a big,
Oh, yeah.
a big dinner. So first of all, Darren's doing all the right things. I hope we'll continue to support.
Yeah, yeah.
Now this one is on podcast number 1.
Oh shit.
No, it is an amendment to something. So Jimmy did. He got hurt when he was in middle school.
Oh.
Well, against his sophomore year,
Right.
he blocks the punt against Northwest.
Yeah. Yeah.
He recovers it. Should have been a touchdown. I'm out there screaming and
Yeah.
yelling.
Yeah.
Well, he jumps up, and the referee signals safety. Well, Jimmy jumps up and does a 180
Oh, yeah.
and comes down and tears his knee.
Yeah. I remember that.
So, he's out of the game. It's the last game of the season because they beat us. So Jimmy says, I tore my ACL. I played in the NFL with no ACL.
Yeah.
Played at Carolina.
Yeah.
He said, my head football coach, Coach Easy Smith, looked after me. He took me to the urologist.
Yeah. Well,
Wait a minute.
that's Dr. Henry. I know it.
Wait a minute.
But
Took
he's a
me-
doctor.
Hey, took me to the urologist to have my knee drained. He didn't say that our 2 team doctors were
Urologist.
urologists.
I know.
Who
I saw that,
recommended
Coach.
him to the
Thank you.
orthopedist.
Thank you, Coach.
So
Thank
I
you.
wanted to clear up for all you people
Thank
in
you.
the podcast world.
Yeah.
I knew,
You know the difference between a weenie and a knee.
I knew what the urologist drained and what they told drained. And I told him, I said, Easy, I know you're not going to. I said, I'm not calling Jimmy out.
Yeah.
said,
I'm glad you called him out.
I've said
Worst
the
communicator in America.
I'm bad. I'm bad.
No, but our team doctors back then, Dr.
Hector Henry,
and
great
John
doctor.
Morton, were
I love him.
urologists.
Yeah.
Great.
Now, the other thing I want to say,
Oh, my
when
God, that's
Concord, Kannapolis, Central, and Northwest had our physicals,
Yeah.
they were 2-hour blocks at the field house, and we took a urine sample, ear, eye, nose, and throat people.
Oh, we had great
internal
physicals.
medicine.
We had great physicals.
We had orthopedists.
Oh, yeah, we had great
And it took 2 hours to get us through.
Oh, we had great physicals.
So we
I mean,
always
I
had
can't-
good physicals.
I can't complain about
So it wasn't like
it. It was.
I wanted to make sure to clear that up. So
Clear-
somebody
yeah,
said he got away with going to a
The urologist? Oh, yeah. I felt that too, Coach.
but I still love you.
I felt that too.
Okay.
You didn't think I was going to see it, did you?
Yeah. I did.
What's up,
I want
Coach?
to go back to Coach Shepherd, Coach at Concord
Yeah.
High School now.
Yeah.
And people catch a lot of grief.
Yeah.
You know me. I first game I went to see his first game he coached at Concord High. They had played at the old
Whitfield.
Webb Field,
What the hell were they playing Webfield for?
where they were
Ours
doing
was
that.
being redone.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry,
You
Coach.
know, I came to the guy and said, well, Coach, you going to be at the game? I said, I'll be right there. And so when I came to the game, I didn't sit with the Concord crowd. I
Yeah.
sit by myself.
Yeah.
Right.
I go, everybody want to know why I did that.
Yeah.
And you guys know why I did it.
All right.
The bottom line is, people saying is, what's wrong with Concord football? Well, if you got in the sense, if you look at the stats
Yeah.
and look at the tradition, at one point, we had every kid that played at Concord,
Came out
their
of the
parents went to Concord.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Yeah.
they keep
Legacy
it
players, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
legacy, you see.
Yeah.
Well, now, as Coach Smith mentioned earlier, you don't have that. Those kids in the black community, the Logan community, they're spread out from Whisker Bars all the way down to Mount Pleasant, Central.
Right.
Right. You see what I'm saying?
I don't understand.
And I'm going to tell you this too, another thing. That transfer rule now is something else.
Right. I forgot about the transfer rule.
One
got
year
high
I
school
sat
too?
there and I watched.
Yeah.
I saw a kid. I'm not calling his name. I saw him start playing at Mount Pleasant. He went to Central. Came to Concord. No, Concord was his last stop.
Yeah.
But he played at 4 different high schools in 4 years.
4
He
years.
played at Robinson too, Coach.
Yeah. Sure did. That's right.
Man, this is getting out of control, man.
Concord was his last stop, though.
That was his
Concord
last
was
stop?
his last
And I said to myself, I said, then of course when they hired everybody talking about Coach Shep and stuff, that's why I don't sit in the crowd, you see. Because if somebody says something, I'm gonna
Jump their ass. Yeah.
It's not gonna be nice. And
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
need that, not my age.
We're gonna have flashbacks.
But that's right. And I just saying to myself that I want you guys, cause you played at Concord, and cause you know what it took.
Yeah.
You guys both know what it took.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You had that pride.
Yeah.
You lived
Yeah,
our
yeah,
legacy.
yeah.
You played our legacy.
Worst-
You played our
You
tradition.
made our legacy.
Worst
Right.
day of my life is when you kicked us off the field and said y'all don't deserve to be Spiders.
Right.
I mean,
But
to
see-
this day, that hurts my heart.
But see, that right there.
But that was teaching.
But
Yeah.
see, again, too, Trip, what you just said.
Yeah.
They don't have that now.
You
Yeah.
don't have that.
They're scared to do that.
That,
Right.
that black
Thank
and gold.
Yeah.
That black and gold meant
They,
something.
and you know what? More than that, they don't understand.
Right.
But just back to Coach Shepard, I want you guys to understand.
Okay.
I want you. I don't care what everybody else thinks.
Yeah.
I don't care about that.
Yeah.
The hell with you. I want you to know,
Yeah.
Right.
so you can tell
Right.
all the
What's
guys
going on?
that paid that price for us
Yeah, yeah.
by tradition. And that's why.
That's why. Okay.
All right.
And I'm
now
glad to hear
Now
it.
you heard it from me.
Yeah, I'm
And
glad
of
to hear
course
it.
I'll tell who.
Y'all, I sent y'all, all
Yeah.
three of you. You remember when I sent you out the FCA camp?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Let me tell you a little secret about that. Last year, they had 8 scholarships.
Yeah.
Wow. Did they really?
See, this year they had 48.
That's awesome.
That's how many people responded
Yeah.
to send $200.
$200, yeah.
To send one kid to camp.
Where was the camp at?
Black Mountain.
Black Mountain.
FCA. And he called me. He said, "Oh my gosh, Coach." He said,
He didn't realize what he was doing when he was talking to you about that.
he did,
Right.
but people have told him. It's like when Coach Padgett talked to me when they were having that good run, and I told him he jinxed himself. He said, "Coach, if we win a state championship, I don't know that we can buy the boys a ring." I said, "Padgett, look at me.
Yeah, alumni will buy it.
As long as I'm alive,
We'll get you rings.
now you won't get these two
Right, right.
because I ain't the coach,
Yeah.
but we will get those boys a ring, and every coach and
Yeah.
every player and every manager, every trainer, everybody that we need to,
Richard
we
Maxwell.
will get them a ring
Right.
that worked to do that."
Yeah.
And that's the part, like Clement would tell a lot of you, listen, you may not play in college,
Yeah.
but he can help you
Yeah.
down the road.
Yeah.
Because he knows so many people, he can make one phone call.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't brag about that,
It's a fact.
but because we won, I go back. Had we not won,
Right.
Wouldn't be like
wouldn't
this.
want anything to do with
Yeah.
any of us.
Yeah.
But we won, we did it the right way. We promoted excellence, and we brought a pride back to Concord that had gone away
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
the 70s,
Yeah.
middle from 76 time period there. So, and I'm very proud that I was part of it. I used to always tell, you don't work for me, you work with me.
Yeah, yeah.
You work beside me.
Yeah.
I got all the credit, and I got all the blame too.
Yeah.
But I didn't do all the work. It's a little bit like how Dean Smith and Bill Guthridge worked at
Yeah.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Clement and I, he knew.
Yeah.
He knew.
Yeah.
But if I needed somebody, like when my mom got sick,
Mhm.
Clement took the football team. I couldn't be at the game.
Yeah.
So he took care of them
Yeah,
until I
yeah.
could get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was no doubt he could have been the head football coach just as easy as
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
He had all that. The difference between the two of us is our personalities.
100%.
It would have been, it was a lot easier for me growing up in Concord, raising money and doing things. But he could have done that too, you know.
Right.
It just, he wasn't going to do it the way I did it. He was going to do it Clement's way.
Right.
And that's the only way that works, right, Coach?
Absolutely.
And people aren't going to donate when somebody's as straightforward as Coach Fleming is.
Right.
I mean, I love
You're
Coach
right.
Fleming. But
They're not.
but
They're not.
yeah,
They're not.
yeah, they're not. They're just not going to do
scared.
it. They're
See,
scared.
what I tell them,
Yeah.
them same people, Trip, and
Yeah.
you learn this, that,
Yeah,
then I don't want your money.
exactly.
Well, see, then you don't tell me about how much you love and respect and all this kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now, if you love Concord High School and you claim you care as much about me and what I'm trying to do, okay, write the check to the Concord High School.
Yeah,
You see?
yeah.
But I'm not going to sit up here and tell you how great thou art now, okay? I'm going to say, we're going to try to do what's best for the kids.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay?
Do you remember shit or shinola? Do you remember that? You used to tell me I don't give a shit or shinola what you're thinking right now.
That's right.
Okay, I need you to remember that I just asked you that.
Sure
You
did.
too, Coach, because something's coming up for the two of y'all. And the only reason I ask you that is because, like Jimmy says, there's a lot of things, because of being in the Army and, injuries and just old age. But I distinctly can remember Coach Fleming screaming at me, I don't give a shit or shinola. So I just want to make sure.
And we're
Put it in the back of your head. We'll talk about it
what
later.
we're going to do is put together something for past, football players. Try to do something at the brewery in Concord. So we're thinking about doing something like that, and we're going to have you guys there. All right. But that's the end of the show.
Another good one.
Another good one.
Yeah. You didn't drop any hard R's. Jimmy just picked on me and asked me when I used the N word. You know what I'm saying? He put me on the spot there. Last thing, my wife she wants to be here because she stands in the back and does this. Because I get off track. But I promised her there would be no hard R's. He threw one out, and me and CJ about passed out. We weren't ready for
but
it.
it was. You'll see it. It was a reason for it. Sure. All right. So, but these guys right here.
Yeah, right, CJ.
These guys right here are very instrumental in a lot of lives. From 1980 to 2007, 2008, these guys reshaped a lot of kids' lives. And we appreciate you, and that's why we got you here. And we want everybody to know. So we hope this goes viral so that you guys can be recognized, and you need to be recognized. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Trip.
Thank you. Thank you, Trip.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Thank you, buddy.
Love you, man.
Love y'all.
Love
Love
you.
y'all.
Very proud of you.